Hey yo, what's up? It's Dominic D'Angelo. It's a Friday, and I'm on the wrong microphone. Oh no, I'm not anymore. So I'm with all of you on this Friday, closing out. It's very hot here in Pittsburgh. I have no AC in my apartment, but I do live on the first floor, so the heat is not terrible, but it's still very tedious, I will say. Um, but happy to be here with all you to cool some things down. Let's say hi to some folks in the chat here. We got Wanna Breeze in the house. Hello, R&I. Glad to have off today from the heat and hope everyone is going to have a happy 250th 4th of July tomorrow. 250 years. It's not a long time, right? It's a lot of years. None of us live that long, but we're still a young country. And wow, what a long, strange trip it's been, to say the very least. So, yeah, happy 4th, everybody. Are you fireworks people? I can do without them. I've had dogs before, and they get freaked out by the fireworks, and then I just kind of feel them to be pointless. It was fun when I was a kid, and we had the Fireman's Carnival, that we'd call it there in Ridgeway, Pennsylvania, and then they would launch fireworks off on that. Like I think it was that Thursday night of Carnival week that we had, when the carnival was in town, and that was more rewarding than any 4th of July fireworks for me. But let's see, I had some more folks in the chat. Big Boss 1983. Hey Dom, how's Techland? Techland is better. I am back with my computer. I did have Wi-Fi issues this morning and had to reset my router, so that's like a common occurrence sometimes. I need to upgrade my Wi-Fi, I think, especially in the profession that I am. Tammy Star says, after morning all, remember on the 5th, it's considered a win to have 10 fingers. That's right. Don't ask Jason Pierre-Paul about that. Google Jason Pierre-Paul if you're not familiar with that story. My goodness. Kimmy Star also adds, poor Odin is in terror all week from fireworks. Yeah, it's just like, it's not good for dogs. Dogs, it's just like, boom. I hear all that noise, and it's panic mode for those poor creatures. Razor is unfazed by fireworks. Buddy is feeling a little phased by this heat, I'll say that. I've been throwing ice cubes in his water dish. I have a box fan going. Trying to do a little bit what I can. The windows are open at the moment. I always close the windows when I leave the apartment because I'm too paranoid that the windows will get open somehow. Like Razor might, I don't think he would do anything, but like could force his way out somehow. Or like, so literally I've had the nightmare where somebody removed the screen, one of the worker of my landlord removed the screen of my window, and Razor got out. He got out. He was on the ledge outside of my apartment building and like freaked out. He was freaked out and like tried to get him, and he ran. I thought I lost him. I thought he was gone. Here, what he did is he ran back and jumped back into the window that he left, and like was hiding under the bed for like an hour and a half. But you could only imagine how beside myself I was, like, because I thought he was gone. And so I have a little paranoia about him escaping. So all right, off on that tangent. Okay, SmackDown's tonight. Previews. Obviously, we preview it typically. We're not the type of show here to do spoilers, but there's a huge storyline development that does go down on SmackDown tonight. And yeah, I almost want to talk about it, but I don't know how to approach it. I will say, like, there could be some indications that, I don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to spoil it. But, like, what everybody's been speculating about could potentially come to fruition when it comes to Sami Zayn. I'll just leave it at that, I think. But I'm still, let me say this, I'm still very confused as to what course they're going to be taking, even after tonight's SmackDown unfolds for all to see. So I just recorded an episode of Working Stiff with Scott Chaplin. That is up now on your podcast feed of choice, or if you're a Patreon subscriber, you get it commercial free. So that's up there. You can sign up, type in patreon.com/WrestleRoast, and you can become a Patreon of Robert and Scott's podcast. That they give you extra content. They do an extra Patreon episode every week, and then every other week, Robert does something to sports entertainment with too. So he gives you a little Raw recap, a solo Raw recap. So check that out. Plus, you have the access to their backlog of all their wrestle roasts that they did over the years too, which is worth the price of admission in itself. Dre Owen says, "Happy 4th, everyone. Just doing a run, and good to see you, Dre. Hope everybody has a fun 4th. I don't really have necessarily any big plans. I do have the day off, but I have to work at 6 a.m. the following day, so it's not that exciting. Let's check the dirt sheets, huh? Let's check the dirt sheets and see what's going down, because I looked earlier today and there was not a whole lot going down. Let's see. Let's see. Former WWE champion says he was considered over Roman Reigns for a major push. Who do we think that is? This is on WrestleZone. It's the site. Oh, why can't I click on this? Oh, it's unresponsive. Is this my internet again? Hopefully it's on my internet. I guess we will not know that. Here we go. Here's a backstage update on Obafemi's King of the Ring win. Obafemi, winning King of the Ring, was always planned to lead not to a title shot against world champion Roman Reigns, but to a match with Brock Lesnar. Excuse me, it was a long-term goal, making Reigns versus Femi as significant of a match as possible by delaying it, according to Dave Meltzer of the newsletter. So this was in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. This is quote from the newsletter. The decision was always for Femi to win King of the Ring, but turned down his title shot at Reigns for a match with Lesnar. The idea was to create Reigns versus Femi as the biggest match possible. I can't say with certainty that means save it for WrestleMania, but my thought going in was that why should he win a shot at Reigns for SummerSlam when it's too soon and he needs more of a chase? And I don't think he's losing the first time to Reigns is the right idea. Of course, it did work for Cody Rhodes in the long run, but each person is different. What works for Rhodes would work for Ospreay, but failed to work for Lex Luger and wouldn't have worked for Bill Goldberg. Femi is closer to a Goldberg, but SummerSlam was too early. I agree with Meltzer on the aspect that Femi is more of a Goldberg type, and the build, him chasing the title, does not make sense. I'll disagree with Meltzer that I don't think SummerSlam was too early at all. I think now's the time to strike. You have to, and if you had the double shot, so to speak, when it comes to what Robert presented, Oba versus Brock, night 1 of SummerSlam, winner gets Roman Reigns. Boom, night 2 you have Oba versus Reigns, and you crown Oba at SummerSlam. So I don't understand the thought process that that you're waiting for to have a big main event match. Well, SummerSlam is unofficially your second biggest night or PLE that you have. So why wouldn't you have that match happen at SummerSlam? Reigns versus Femi. I don't think you're doing any favors by prolonging it. Sure, you're getting an extra match with Brock and Oba in a Hell in a Cell, and I think that's extremely intriguing. And like I said on the Monday review I did of Raw, that I don't necessarily have a problem with them pivoting in that manner, but I do think ultimately the big payoff would be putting that title on Oba sooner than later. And I would have been A-okay if they did that at SummerSlam. I'd still be okay if they did that like the next night on Raw. I do not think you have to wait on this. There is no reason to wait on this. Obafemi is over. Obafemi, if he had a title shot, the fans already believe he would win that championship. So there is no reason to have him chase for a longer story. So yeah, I don't know if that's always been the plan. If that's always been the plan, it's not a great plan. Um, yeah. Oh, Kimmy, thank you. I think you need to be the permanent third on the Working Stiff podcast. Interesting. Unresponsive is one of my favorite superstars. What a name. Unresponsive would be. My goodness. Um, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's the drag of summer right now. Wrestling feels, in WWE in specific, feels kind of a drag right now. There's nothing that's that intriguing. Certainly on, like, I can't say that I've watched SmackDown like regularly, but um, coming from the Raw perspective, nothing. Like I said yesterday, I think it feels homogenized, and there's nothing engaging about it. I think the absence of Punk, they're feeling that for sure, but then there's no build of new stars and excitement behind new stars besides Oba, who seems to be in this holding pattern with the Lesnar feud. Oh, well, here we go. Here's a new update on CM Punk. Speaking of CM Punk, a potential opponent revealed for him. Do I click on this? Is this a message board? What is this? Hold on a second. Bear with me. Oh, this is just discussion. Never mind. That is not, I don't think that was an update here. Let me just make sure. I'm going to try to figure that out. SmackDown Tonight. Oh, here we go. Let's take a look at this one. This is not CM Punk related. ESPN is more, man, loading situation here. It's not getting an unresponsive notification here. Okay, ESPN is described as an active and idea generating partner in its PLE deal with WWE, not a silent backer. Dave Meltzer corroborating the new issue of the Pro Wrestling Observer newsletter that the network pushed for a six match Night of Champions card specifically to give ESPN unlimited subscribers enough exclusive content to justify subscribing. From Meltzer's report, WrestleVotes reported that this show was 6 matches instead of 5 due to ESPN feeling they needed at least 4 matches not on television to convince people who aren't ESPN limited subscribers to subscribe. This was largely confirmed to us as accurate and was noted that ESPN are definitely not silent partners in this deal and are always coming up with ideas. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think from ESPN standpoint, I think, yeah, you pay for this product. You want to make it feel pretty exclusive if you're trying to get people to subscribe to your app, as confusing and upsetting as that app may be. I don't necessarily blame ESPN for feeling that way. And 6 matches isn't egregious. It's not like you're committing a whole lot of extra time. Like 7 matches is a lot. 6 matches is fine. 5, WWE's kind of, I felt, hit a certain type of note that's been more digestible. But even I think a lot of people think 5 matches is too few. So, yeah, I'm not necessarily against him. Hey, throw in another match on there. Come on, give us a little break. Because, yeah, I don't necessarily fault ESPN for feeling that certain type of way. Let's check out Fightful. They constantly update their site with dirt sheet news. How many people have seen the feud between Jim Cornette, Paul Walter Hauser, and a little bit of Mason Rook? Huh? What do people think about that? I have some thoughts. I always try to preface by saying, from a philosophical and booking standpoint and how I enjoy wrestling, I subscribe more to Jim Cornette's thought process on how all that unfolds and how he believes wrestling should be portrayed. And I think so. My viewpoints align from a wrestling perspective a little bit more on the lines of a Jim Cornette than, say, I don't know, your modern wrestling, than maybe like a Meltzer would. And I mean, Meltzer's not modern really, but from the modern mindset of how wrestling is portrayed, like people are more into the match work and all that stuff. I'm more so tell me a story, give me good characters, let that story be conveyed in the ring in a believable fashion, and rinse, wash, and repeat with new people and new stars, but still have the people we're familiar with too in the mix. So I do subscribe to what Cornette says more than what your modern wrestling content creator feels. But either way, Cornette went back and forth with Mason Rook about how he's presented. Paul Walter Hauser, actor. I've got to meet Paul several times. He's a nice guy. But he chimed in too and decided to include the name of Nick Bockwinkel. And Cornette took exception to that and called Paul Walter Hauser a turd blossom, called Mason Rook a human waterbed, and also Chaz Bono. And so discourse was had. I said this on Working Stiff, but I'll say it here too. Paul, I liked how Paul handled his X account initially because he would kind of chime in, but there'd be a lot of times where he wouldn't use his X account at all. And I think, when you're a celebrity and you're getting into the wrestling ring, I think you're setting yourself up in the best position by remaining off the grid. And that's for several reasons. Primary reason I would think would be to just disregard the negative feedback you're going to get. Because no matter what, if you're a celebrity and you're including yourself into the pro wrestling landscape, you're setting yourself, especially stepping in the ring, you're setting yourself up for a lot of criticism online. So I thought that was a good move on his part to do. Secondly, I do think not that there's like an air of mystery that comes with Paul Walter Hauser, but he's a very well-known actor. He gets a lot of great roles and has been in some big movies. So you create that degree of separation. And I was like, okay, like the fact that he's dipping into wrestling, like doing stuff, he did stuff with AEW and ROH a little bit, a company we don't also talk about on here a little bit too. Obviously, he's had some matches there. I think him like kind of being selective at what he was doing was great. Him chiming in about wrestling is not setting himself up for success in the industry in regards to like if you're bringing up a name like Nick Bockwinkel, who Paul heard of but probably wasn't super aware of because the WWE narrative has kind of almost, I don't want to say whitewashed Nick Bockwinkel, but basically have taken him out of the public eye. They certainly don't shine a spotlight on Nick Bockwinkel. Whereas Nick Bockwinkel is like, you could put him on the level of, a Harley Race or, a Terry Funk. Nick Bockwinkel just stuck with AWA. So, and, he had a little bit of appearances in WCW later on, in fact. But like that was Bockwinkel's wheelhouse. And he was a steady top name for AWA for years on end. He was the face of AWA, minus Vern Gagne. But like Nick Bockwinkel was the guy. And if you go and watch a promo of Nick Bockwinkel, you can tell why he was that guy. He was paired with Bobby Heenan, not because he couldn't talk, because Nick Bockwinkel could talk, but he talked in a different manner than Bobby Heenan. So you pair Bobby Heenan up with Nick Bockwinkel, two guys that could talk, you had a double whammy of a powerhouse top star identity for AWA and a good antagonist for someone like a Vern Gagne or a Hulk Hogan. So the disappreciation or the dismissal of someone like Nick Bockwinkel to further what Paul Walter Hauser was trying to convey did not do him any favors. And, Cornette fired back at him, and then he got a lot of negative feedback just in general, I believe, too, for what he had to say. And so, that's not to say that Paul Walter Hauser doesn't care about wrestling, because you clearly can tell he does. And, like, he tries to put it in the best manner and incorporate whatever he can into his publicity tours for movies, during award shows, all that stuff. So he does try to put a spotlight on it. This, though, wasn't the type of spotlight you should be kind of looking for here. I think, too, he did say something about maybe rescinding, or let me see. I'll just look up his X account here and see what he had to say in regards to. I think he did correct course a little bit. Walter Hauser. Let's see. That is not him. Hauser. Let's see if I just type in Hauser. It won't pop up. Dave Hauser. Maybe, I think it's PWH Hauser. No. Hold on. Bear with me. Sorry. I just want to figure this out. Paul Walter Hauser. X account. Here we go. Wrestler Hauser, I think. Yes, this is him. Uh-oh. Wow. Well, no wonder I couldn't find it. He got rid of his X account. Wow. Yeah, he's not there anymore. I mean, again, he got rid of his X account before, and I don't think that was a bad move. I don't. But hey, okay. So there you go. There you go. Wins. Okay, hold on. Big Boss says, when's the big match between Cornette and Last versus the Angelo brothers? Oh, man. Last wouldn't stand a chance. Last wouldn't last against the Angelo brothers. That's right. Boom. Dang, Brian Last. Tell you what. One of Breeze says, at least Cornette is leaving you alone, Dom. Yeah, I guess that's a plus. That's the thing. Cornette hasn't. I'm not blocked by Cornette on X. He probably doesn't know who I am, to be honest. I think he could give two F's who the heck I am. I just know Brian Last likely knows who I am, and he's the one that, And Cornette, yeah. If you get disparaged by Cornette on there, and he did, he made fun of me pretty dang good on his show months back. So, but hey, that's fine. I don't care. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I still agree. Like I said, philosophically with Cornette, and I could definitely talk wrestling with him for sure. So, all right. Let me see here. Innuendo rundown. I guess you guys and gals probably know by now that this show has probably been sponsored by Blue Chew. That's right. And Blue Chew is on a new horizon. We want things to pick up during SummerSlam. Well, something you can pick up during SummerSlam is in the bedroom. And that will be with the help of Blue Chew Gold. That's right. Blue Chew Gold is a better sex in a tablet. They combine 4 ingredients into one powerful solution. 2 ingredients get you hard physically, and 2 support arousal and desire in the brain. It works fast and lasts. Guys, have a complete experience in the bedroom with Blue Chew Gold. There's a reason Blue Chew is the #1 brand for better sex. Experience it yourself at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Right now, when you go and buy 2 months of Blue Chew Gold, you get that 3rd month for free with promo code RUMOR. That's promo code RUMOR. You will also receive an additional 10% off plus free overnight shipping on your first order. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the pod and the bedroom. That's right. Thank you, Blue Chew. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at Fightful here. See if they have anything juicy to talk about here. Not seeing anything super duper. Here, let's cover this about Chad Gable here real quick. Chad Gable wants to be the guy aiming to be WWE champion. Gable guest appeared on the Hot Tag Wrestling podcast. Was asked what's next for him. So I think it's fairly clear to everybody that I've been this successful tag team wrestler and almost categorized as that. I have tag team championships on every level. I made it very clear in the past I'm capable of more than that. I think the mask versus mask match was show the world those weren't just words, that I'm now backing it up, and my intention of going forward is to continue to do that and provide that I'm not just going to want to hold singles championships going. Pop-up just popped up. That I'm not just going to want to hold singles championships going forward. That's a goal, but to be the guy, to hold the world championship, to hold the WWE championship, I'm capable of that. I know it. I think people know it. The right people now know it. But it's also on me to continue the momentum to carry it forward. So cool. Yeah, I agree. I think Chad Gable being a world title contention would be very cool. And I think that'd be kind of a fun program depending on who you lined him up with. Like, could you imagine a cool Braun Breaker, Chad Gable feud going down, something like that? Or Chad Gable going up against the heel Cody Rhodes? That'd be pretty cool. I think that'd be awesome. Fun matches between him and Sami Zayn. I think there's untapped potential. And that's weird to say for Chad Gable, who's been in WWE for the better part of 12 years. So yeah, I'd be all for Gable getting in the mix in a big way. So Blue Chew for a real SummerSlam. Yeah, giggity. Cammy says, just spoil the prepared SmackDown, save us all some time. A good segue for Blue Chew would have been, if you want to get hard on like Cornette, get a hard on like Cornette, get a hard on for Mason Rook and Paul Walter Hauser. Gets a hard on for, oh man, I just butchered that. A good segue for Blue Chew would have been, if you want to get hard on like Cornette gets a hard on for Mason Rook and Paul Walter Hauser. Man, yeah, that would have been a good setup. I am not a segue guy. Once in a while, I'll hit it. But most times I'm not. All right, what I'll do, this is what I'll do. I'll close out the show, but I will say what happens on SmackDown right after. And I'll say spoilers. So if you're tuning in, you can tune out and not get it. But if you want to hang around, I'll just tell you what happens on SmackDown, or at least the big storyline part. And then we'll close out the show. All right. But as you know, you can always catch us on a plethora of platforms here, like the WE Creative_X account, the @Dominic D'Angelo X account, the @SE Scoops X account, on YouTube at StudioOneSports.com. Be sure to hit like, subscribe, go to StudioOneSports.com. Also, check out RVD, RVDTV.com. Go to that channel, hit the like button. New episode is now up on the YouTube. It'll be up audio form later today. So you can tune in. Rob and I cover some great ground. If you like hearing CM Punk be discussed, we talk about CM Punk. We talk about old Hollywood fixers, like almost like the my goodness, the Liv Schreiber show on Showtime. But Rob covers some of the history on that. We talk about crazy story about him and Jim Barnett. Wow, never knew those two's paths cross, and they did, and funny way, in a very funny way. So definitely worth turning into. Okay, so Wanna Breeze is exited because he does not want to hear on the spoilers. So we'll see you next time there. When I did my radio show, I used to use the spoilers to tease SmackDown and almost try to promote it. Yeah, you can do that too. All right, so what happens on SmackDown is it gets revealed. Okay, spoilers, everybody. If you're done watching, goodbye. Best of luck in your future endeavors, and stay warm out there on the 250th birthday of the United States of America. All right, spoiler time. So what happens on SmackDown, or as a big development, is it gets announced that Roman Reigns. Wait. Let me make sure. It's not Roman Reigns. It's Jey Uso. Challenge. Oh, yes. It's Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso. Winner gets a title shot on Raw against Sami Zayn. Crazy. Okay. A lot of us were all speculating that Sami Zayn was maybe not long to be the champion. Everybody is shocked that he won the championship at Saudi Arabia. I guess if you do look back on it, him having his connections and a little bit of like, relationship that with Saudi people does kind of make sense for him to have that championship and get a win like that, like a big win, and then it makes their Saudi Arabia experience feel more important. So I understand that element of it, but then you're coming back and you have Cody Rhodes versus Jey Uso for the main number one contendership for Raw coming up against the match against Sami Zayn. And so Cody and Jey have the match. Cody Rhodes wins. Cody Rhodes will be facing Sami Zayn in a singles match. Now, could they be teasing something to build to something else later on? Yes, of course. But I mean, it seems like Cody's going to win that thing, right? Are we going to get some sort of big turn where Cody turns heel and Sami is like, he's kind of like a in between right now, or is he more heelish? Either way, it's like, what do you do next with Sami? So there's a lot to kind of think about there. So yeah, that's a big spoiler on SmackDown. I'll leave out everything else up to interpretation for you guys to tune in and catch later on. But that was the big development, and certainly we'll see whatever happens reverberate on the way to SummerSlam. So, all right, that'll do it for me. I will see you on Monday. Robert should be back by then, and we'll be back in full force for another Rumor and Innuendo. Again, best of luck in your future endeavors, and happy birthday, USA. 250 years old. Man, what a baby.